Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 9. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you are back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Please don't hesitate to like. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to like the videos. Okay, I know we be getting into it as we get into it, but the likes ain't adding up to us getting into it. Because it's like I see 20,000 of us getting into it, but then I see 200 of us liking. So come on, you have to like the video for your girl if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it, because honey, this episode was good to me. Do y'all hear me? Baby, it was so much going on at every twist and turn, and all the good looking men's. Shout out to Miss Wanda. Baby, the men's was looking good and the episode was good. It was just all to the good. So here we go. When the episode first opens up, Piggy done brought her sneaky self back. Side note, Angela/Yaya. Baby, this hair is giving. This hair is everything. I love me some natural hair. Okay, I love me a good old kinky straight unit. I love it, y'all. I love everything about it. So anywho, Nate comes out looking like a schnizzak. I was like, oh, yes, ma'am. So he comes out with a towel wrapped around him. And Piggy said, well, hello. What you two been doing? Honey, I know that's right. I know what I would have been doing, but let's hear their answers. So he's like, nothing, just taking the same boat back and forth, trying to find a job so I can move back to Boston. She said, oh, okay, so are we all going back to Boston? Baby, they're about to be a full-on family next season. Okay, leave it up to them. So she was like, don't even start, okay? He's just here to co-parent. I ain't never, and I do mean not never, spent the night co-parenting. But then again, I would never allow my ex in any space with me, so there's that. Baby, he's not even allowed to be on the same block as me, okay? Co-parent from the grave, child. Ooh, I cannot be bothered. Moving forward. So Angela starts telling Aunt Piggy how Tyrique has been all messed up since she left about his dad's death. So then she starts calling out to the Lord in the mirror because she knows something. Aunt Piggy talking about, Lord, help me. Yes, please help you, because you know everything and ain't saying nothing. In the next scene, Morris getting all cleaned up and Leah hops in. I'm like, oh, yes, all the men's got their chest out on this episode. Let's get into it. This cast of men, they are beautiful. This cast in its entirety, okay, the melanin is popping. So when they're in the shower, right, they're talking about her father and what he could possibly be doing. And Leah was saying she didn't know what he was doing and she was trying to stop him from doing whatever it is he was doing. And so he turns to her and she's talking to him and they looking like a beautiful black couple. Oh, child. So anywho, no more talking. Then they start kissing all up and through the shower. Moving forward. So as they're kissing, so is the brother with his little boo in the next scene. I'm like, oh, okay, the brother is finally starting to come out. Because y'all remember, honey, I had forgotten all about the brother. And I was trying to figure out where I knew that girl from that's playing his girlfriend. And it dawned on me that she plays on Tyler Perry's House of Pain as Malik's pregnant girlfriend. If you watch House of Pain, I love me some House of Pain. I know it's corny, honey, it ain't make no sense. But I do like House of Pain. Okay, Tyler, lending your cast to Lee Daniels and whatnot. In the next scene, Angela rolls up on Tyrique in his jog. He's got a little chip on his shoulder because he feels like, she wants to work things out with Nate. Listen, I would be upset if my man was living with his child's mother, honey. However, this is some misplaced anger, Tyrique. Okay, you're not really mad at her. You mad because you cannot find out what is the real reason behind your father's death. Child, be taking that on her and her new kinky straight wig, honey. No, ma'am. She feels like, he's using all of this as an excuse. And he's definitely not feeling her at the moment because he jogs right on past her. I'm like, oh, child. Moving forward, Leah and her mother-in-law are meeting with the ladies of the Gray Cities. Olivia is being shady, trying to make Angela feel inferior like they like to do, honey, because y'all know how they do. So she finally speaks up for herself like she like to do. She's like, I'm down with the community service and I've proven myself. I mean, is it my bank account or is it the lack of zeros in my bank account? Like, what is it? She's like, you know what? As much as you like to make it about you, we actually have business to attend to. She said, oh, well, I'm just speaking up for myself like my mother taught me. She said, in order to be a Gray City, there are times when decorum must take the forefront over you speaking your speech. Now, she didn't say speaking your... Now, She didn't say speaking your speech, but honey, y'all know I'm gonna fit my stuff in there wherever I can, okay? If it seems like speaking your speech should be inserted, it shall be inserted, child, and that's that on that. So then Olivia starts looking her nose down, saying the Gracities don't do counterfeit. You need to be born into their world, which is why they don't invite outsiders into their group. I would cuss her smooth out. I really try so hard to be poised and put together and, chin up and pinkies to the sky, but I will get you together, okay? And I would hate to do that because I would be looking at that gray hair and realizing that she's my elder, but at the same time, honey, don't look down your nose at me, because at the end of the day, we're all black, honey, and that's all people will ever see, no matter how many zeros you have in your bank account. Okay, let's get that together. Moving forward. So Angela was like, this blood isn't counterfeit. I was like, oh, child, honey, she might choose violence. So Leah was like, come on, let's just go. So she escorted her on out, and they go in and talk to Teddy. So he tells her that the Incubator program is shut down, so her distribution deal isn't going to happen. He's like, ever since they found out about my Parkinson's, we've really taken a hit. So we're going to take all of that money and put it into the stadium deal so they can't afford to invest. Baby Angela, of course, honey, y'all know she is devastated because she put everything she had into it so she could come there, right? She put all of her eggs in one basket. I don't know why she did that, but she did. She's like, now I have nothing. She said, I just feel so stupid. I put all of my eggs in one basket. So Leah was like, well, the Gracities, they support each other from within, and she promises to help her. Baby Angela better come up with a plan B because it doesn't look like it's happening with them. In the next scene, Angela gets home and she is pissed. So Nate is in there cooking up some food, and he's like, what's wrong? So she tells him about how she put all of her eggs in one basket and how she has to charm the Gracities so that she can get some funding. He's like, well, if anyone can do it, you can. Okay, speaking life into her, even though she hid you from her daughter and almost didn't want you to get out of jail, but speak that life. Baby, she didn't want you nowhere near, but you go ahead and be supportive. Child, I love to see it. So she asks him about the resumes of it all, right? And he's like, yeah, they're going how resumes go. So then she reaches out and touches his chest. And I'm like, oh, what is going on right here? He said, what are you doing? She said, I'm giving you some of my tenacity. See, giving up your tenacity is the reason why Tyrique running past you on the beach shirtless, okay? Keep your tenacity to yourself, honey, while you over there sharing tenacity. The food is burning up, Nate. Get yourself together. Child, this is a fool. Moving forward. In the next scene, Olivia stomping into Raymond's office. He was like, sir, your mother. He was like, oh, I know that stomp anywhere. She's like, what is this I hear about Jack selling his shares to Teddy? So he tells her what's happening. He said, but that's not the biggest problem. Teddy has Dermond tied up in a fake LLC. She was like, a shell corporation? So is he trying to get Dermond to take a fall? She said, your dad would be spinning in his grave. He said, well, you know what? Yeah, about that. Dad left the business to me when he died. So stand down. Y'all know what this reminds me of? The Family That Prays. That Tyler Perry movie. This whole little thing right here, how they're fighting over power and all of this kind of stuff within the business, it reminds me of The Family That Prays. That's just a side note. Moving forward. Baby mama didn't like that, honey, because she expected to be the HBIC. Olivia, stand down. In the next scene on the beach, Lauren is having a meeting with the girls. I mean, they have more meetings on this show than a little bit, but honey, what they meeting about now? After the meeting is over, Lauren asks Nikki if she could talk to Taylor for a minute over to the side. So Lauren tells her that she thinks her mom is cheating with Jack. And Taylor said, do you have some proof? So she pulls out this hotel card. So Taylor said, man, I don't know. I mean, my mom's third marriage ended because I told her that I saw my stepdad out to lunch with another woman. Turns out it was his boss. So, I mean, you sure you want to take that risk? So, child, while they over there hugging and whatnot, Nikki's eyes over there shifting and watering up. Honey, y'all know how she like to do. Moving forward. Leah is filling Angela in on all things Gracity, and she's telling her to focus on this one lady named Giselle because she is where the money resides. Where the money resides, where the money resides. Moving forward. Nikki is going over flashcards with Angela for the Gracities, and Nikki brings up going to a boarding school, but Angela is like, look, pump your brakes. Okay, the bag fell through, so that may have to wait, but we can always make a way, if I get a new investor. Nikki, you do not need to be running down to that boarding school to follow Taylor and Lauren. Okay, it don't make no sense. That cannot be trusted. Taylor cannot be trusted. In the next scene, Olivia is over there wreaking havoc in Leah's office. Olivia, you still traveling? Oh my goodness. So she's letting her know that Teddy is messing with Raymond's business and she needs to help him instead of playing with those fabric swatches. So Leah is like, my man doesn't need my help, but thank you though. So she said, earlier you mentioned not initiating anyone into the Gray Cities that's lower class, but when I went through Mom's memorabilia, I see Eve in the picture. She said yes. Rose thought she could build something, but she took the shortcut through Teddy's bed. Oh, okay. Oh, ouch. Okay, honey, you asked for it. Not you calling her mama a thought on the slick. Child, this is a mess. She's like, I'm tired of her putting up her mom on her shoulders for all the world to see, when in reality, her mama is trash and her daughter is no better than she is. Baby, that Olivia is something else. Olivia and everything, but not helping nothing. Lady, you're not doing anything. Moving forward. In the next scene, Teddy rolls up on Raymond, pretending to make a martini, shaken, not stirred. I'm like, child, he's shaking up this water because y'all ain't got no liquor on the set, okay? So they start to talk about Jack selling his shares of Dermot. So Raymond said, well, you may have the shares, but I have the youth. He said, you're jealous. I figured it out. I have the rest of my life ahead of me, and time is no longer on your side. Got him. Honey, I know that had to sting, especially since he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Raymond said he don't give 2 pennies about Teddy's illness. Do y'all hear me? Baby, this family is cut throat. In the next scene, Angela went into Eve's crown and some white powder substance fell out. Honey, I ain't gonna say that over here on this channel, honey. Get me shut down. And it was in the place where Nate is sleeping, right? So, child, she packed up all his bags and took him out on the curb. And she's sitting there and she's letting him know that he can politely see himself out if he's going to be bringing drugs around. And, child, he was just standing there not saying nothing. I'm like, sir, speak up if you're innocent. Because I know the way these shows are written that this is not your stuff. So just say that. Honey, anywho, she gave him no time to explain anything. Child, she stood up, gave her speech, and Angela was looking beautiful in this episode. I mean, from the hair to the outfits. She was giving this episode. I said, yes, ma'am, honey. The wardrobe, the hair, the makeup. Now this, you're on point with. Shout out to Phaedra Parks. Moving forward. Back over at Jack's house, Olivia is visiting. Child, she been getting around this episode. Then we pan over to the children, and they're having a beach bonfire. So the brother shows up. Child, I didn't even know his name. I'm just going to keep on calling him the brother. So the brother shows up, and he introduces his friend as the housekeeper's granddaughter. Baby, she was pissed. She said, don't you ever introduce me like that again. Everybody knows that house manager is code for housekeeper. I'm like, oh, child. I mean, don't be ashamed of your grandmother, honey. It's an honest living. I can't stand bougie black people. Child, I know you didn't. She feels like they're not going to accept her if they know her backstory, so she feels insecure about it, but he did apologize to her. And she was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I was just tripping. Girl, yeah, don't let them people look their nose down at you, honey. Fictional or not fictional. Moving forward. Back on the other side, Olivia is trying to figure out why Raymond and Jack are on the outs. So she's like, look, the two of you need to put these shears away and be brothers again and be back on good terms. The last thing we need is Teddy in our business. So Jack said, look, me and Raymond were no longer brothers, and he made that very clear. And plus, I'm tired of his judgment, okay? Teddy is going to pay me a fortune for my shares, and then I'm going to be done with Raymond and your family. So, baby, then he pulls out a little white powder. I'm like, what is happening? So she tells Jack, those shares are not yours to sell. So she starts telling him the backstory of how their families actually came to be. And his family was the guarantor of a loan to her family because they weren't able to get a loan because they were people of color. But after that, honey, they needed them more than they needed them. That's basically what it boils down to. So she gets up to leave, and he's trying to get her to sit down for another drink, right? He said, well, why should I care anything about that? You know, my family's just a guarantor, as you'd like to say. So when she turned around, he grabbed her, right? He grabbed her arm, and she was like, get your hands off of me. And baby, she jerked back, and he fell between that glass table, gone. I said, oh, child, this is getting good. So she pushed him, and he fell. And baby, she done unalived this man, and she ain't even blink. But her lipstick is on that glass, so honey, she going down. And if she don't go down, honey, something ain't right. Over on the beach, Nikki and Taylor, they're getting cozy, and she's asking about the boarding school and if they give scholarships. And Taylor was like, wait a minute, are you trying to apply? So she was like, I might. Now, while they over there getting cozy by the bonfire and whatnot, Lauren over there ironing them. So Lauren comes up and she runs the interference. Lauren, what do you have to say right now? Like, is this the time that you're choosing? Okay. She was like, can I just talk to you? Nikki, I really need to talk to her. I mean, it's really something important. Okay. It's something important. Just for a second. Child, this is so messy. I can't stand Taylor. Like, how could you go between cousins? Oh, it's just messy. So Lauren wants to go to see Jack to give him a chance to come clean about him and her mom's affair. So they walk in and child, they find him laying on his back with that table through his back. Oh my gosh, child. This gonna have the whole island in an uproar. Over on the other side, Angela is at the mixer schmoozing Giselle so she can get that financial backing, right? Because remember, that's the one that Leah told her will be able to help her with her business. So she's telling her about the products, and then she pulls out this curl pudding. Here come Olivia. I'm like, oh, child. She been walking for 1 whole hour straight. She has been walking through this episode from start to finish. Child, this is a fool. She comes over and she's talking about how Angela ain't got no home training, basically, and clearly didn't understand the assignment by passing out samples. And again, Olivia would have been gotten read for filth using all of Webster's dictionary's finest words so she didn't confuse my read for one the common folks might give. Child, she wouldn't be no more good when I got through with her, walking around like she didn't just commit a crime. Girl, you're a fugitive. Moving forward. After seeing that, Taylor comes back to the beach. So Nikki is panicking. She's like, is something going on between you and Lauren? I mean, y'all are spending all this time together. Y'all are about to go to boarding school. I mean, I don't want this to be just a summertime fling. I love you. Taylor was like, can I just call you tomorrow? Child, this is a mess, honey. So Nikki's eyes start shifting from side to side, honey. She gets up all teary-eyed and sachets away down the beach, child. In the next scene, Lauren is in her room crying, and Leah and Raymond walk in. So she tells them how she found Jack. Leah's like, yeah, your dad told me. But why were you there? Ma'am, besides her being there, where's the panic? Okay, she was just as nonchalant as she could be. Like, there's not a dead body nearby. The man is deceased. So Lauren tells them that she found the key card in her car. And so Leah starts telling the story about how Jack gave it to her when he was wasted. But ma'am, we saw you kiss him. So what about the kiss? Okay, we ain't forgot. What about that kiss? So Leah claims she never went to see him at the bungalow, and she's trying to explain it to Raymond. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. I hear you, but let me go ahead and get in front of this story. Baby, you don't care nothing about what Leah got going on, do you? Moving forward. Meanwhile, Angela shows up at home and tells Aunt Piggy she found drugs. Come to find out, the drugs are hers. She said, well, you know, Tyrique came asking me about the past, and it triggered the old me, the me that you don't know about. So then she tells her, look, I was addicted to crack, and I fell in love with my dealer, and his name was Darius. We were real toxic, real volatile, and, you know, we were high, and we were fighting, and then it got physical, and it was either me or him. And he was choking me, so I grabbed a knife, and I stabbed him. She's like, I didn't mean to. I really didn't. I was just scared. So then I went home and I told Eve, and she said that her boss, Teddy, could make it all go away. So he had Tyrique's daddy, who is Calvin, remove the body. Baby, my mouth was wide open. But why couldn't you just tell Tyrique that? Did you have anything to do with his father's death? Like, what is wrong with you? Girl, this is a fool. So she's backslid because of Tyrique coming to ask her those questions, and she needs to go back to her meetings. So then she tells Angela, look, I know you are getting to know Teddy, but he ain't worth nothing, okay? He been blackmailing me ever since we got to this island, and he cannot be trusted. But Aunt Piggy, can you be trusted? Like, you weren't gonna say nothing, okay? You weren't gonna say nothing at all. And who hides drugs out in the open? And why? If Nikki is there and her shifty eyes, what about if she would have found it? That don't make no sense. In the next scene, Leah is getting Olivia old messy self straight about how she's treating her sister, and Olivia tells her about how she put money in Eve's crown, but Eve messed it up and her husband took her money. So that's why she's taking it out on Angela. Moving forward, Angela is apologizing to Nate for accusing him of something he didn't do. So then she gets this call from Giselle to have a meeting, and she's caught up in the excitement, and you know, they're getting into it, and then they kiss. I just knew Tyrique was going to walk in. I was like, wait, watch Tyrique walk in. But child, he didn't. Moving forward, in the next scene, Taylor and her player ways, they go to comfort Lauren because she can't sleep after seeing, Jack laid out like that. And child, then the two of them kiss. Well, Nikki, get ready to look side to side, honey, because it's about to be a fool. In the final scene, Olivia's still creeping around when she creeps past Raymond. So Raymond tells her, the story that he gave the police as she cries and says, "That's unfortunate." He said, "No, you know what's unfortunate? Is that Lauren found him first." So then he shows her the glass with her lipstick on it. He said, "Listen, I know you thought with him gone that the shares were going to go to you. They do revert back to us. But your chances to run Durham have not come. Lock her up and throw her away." Lock her up, child. Lock her up. Oh, honey, there's so much greed and back and forth and backbiting, secrets and lies on this show, honey. And I live for each and every moment of it. Child, y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. I thought that it was so good. And I think that it was really especially good because I didn't have to see Nikki and them little drippy, droppy eyes of hers shifting back and forth. They are going to have to get her some coaching, some kind of something so that she's not so one-dimensional, honey, because I don't think I can take it next season, child. And this was a fool. And that was the end of the episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.